We'd like to thank buildinglink.com for allowing us to host this Fireside chat, as well as Gina Waldhorn, co-founder of Evolution, and Ramon, publisher and founder at Smart Hustle magazine, for speaking on how to be human on social media and in business during Social Media Week 2016. To download the Workbench board we create live during the chat, head over to our Facebook page or Flickr channel. If you'd like to visualize your own events, as we did here on the large screen, go ahead and download the Workbench app in the Apple App Store. Make visual conversations with your creative ideas and start collaborating today. So welcome to Social Media Week. How many of you have been going every day this week, essentially, for Social Media Week? Cool. We have some cool go-getters here going all week. I remember going to my first Social Media Week about 4 years ago, and I've been going ever since. I think we met at one of the events.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Good things come of it.
What will this be up for?
Alright, let's see. Get back to Apple TV. Yep, cool. So, why are we hosting this event? We believe that creatives should be online, but when it comes to being human online from a branding perspective and whatnot, it's very difficult to be human online. So, Gina's going to talk about her business, Ramon's going to talk about his business as well, and basically say how they're trying to be human online as well. So, can you give a quick introduction to yourselves?
Sure. Hi, my name is Gina Waldhorn. Thanks for coming out on a freezing Friday night.
This is awesome.
Yeah, that's me. So my background, I started my career in the agency world, so I was at big media agencies doing communications planning and media strategy for Fortune 100 brands. And about 4 years ago, left that world to start a company called Evolution. And what Evolution does is connect big brands with early stage tech startups. So we work with the likes of Nestle, Anheuser-Busch, Steelcase, Kraft Foods, Toyota, and we help them to find the entrepreneurs and the technology platforms that are disrupting their business, their market, their category, and make sure that those two are collaborating. And so it's been 4 years and been working with Workbench to understand how we can help connect them with some of our enterprise clients, and excited to be here.
I think you were one of my first connections in Europe when I moved in for my freshman year of college.
Yeah, you were running the show.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't me?
It was me.
Both of you.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Good moderator.
Yeah. Sure. My name is Ramon, editor of Smart Hustle magazine, an in-print magazine coming out every 3 months. And we cover the journey of small businesses and entrepreneurs, so please do check it out, Smart Hustle magazine. I've started 4 companies, sold a company, and my passion is really helping small businesses grow. And a big shout out to my team who's here. They have their own business as well, but Stephanie Gould is social media queen, she's here. And Jesse's there, my videographer, and Tim, who is my son as well, video producer. And my daughter Charity, the girl back there who's eating some cheese. So,
Awesome.
So I'm Ramon Ray, and I love small business, and went to NYT, and that's a little bit about me.
And my name is Arjun, like Argentina, but no Tina. Founder and CEO of Workbench, and basically what we want to do 2 years ago, or a couple months ago actually, we pivoted. The idea behind Workbench was basically to build Iron Man for creative people. Now, what that means is basically, how many of you have seen the movie Iron Man or Minority Report? Awesome, sci-fi fans. Do you remember when they're navigating a computer without touching it? Anyone remember? Yep. So why can't we have that in the creative space? And so that question basically led me to building what was known as Canvas, and we renamed the company into Workbench. And so the idea is basically looking at the app right now, we're using it for the event. The idea is if you and I want to have a conversation, how do we have a visual, create a conversation? And so the idea is you can drag in videos, PDFs, images, documents. I can say, add Gina, please take a look at this side of the document. Add Ramon, here's the PDF that I was talking about. Do you want to annotate it or whatnot? So how do you enable visual conversation? And then also on the bottom, you can have chat, like Slack essentially, or any other text-based tool. So we are basically trying to bring in together the creative community and say, we can build, and we should be building software for you, the creative community. You should not be left to paper or marker and chalk, like I was when I was interning at 2 agencies actually here in New York. And so that's my background. And also later on, Jackie's not here yet, but she'll be performing at 8 o'clock, so don't leave. She'll be performing a couple of songs, and she's also an aspiring artist and very much creative. So to get into a couple of questions, is Michael here? Michael Cedar? Okay, well Michael actually sent me an article about being human, so we're going to talk about that later. But first questions first. Let's see here. How many have you been using the reaction feature on Facebook? How many like it? How many don't like it? I guess you can react to the question, some of our reactions. Gina, Ramon, do you feel social media is becoming more human by by moving beyond the button with reactions. Now, you had the like button. No one did, Facebook didn't put our dislike button probably because people didn't want negativity online. But you see you have the angry face here. This guy down here doesn't feel so happy, but do you feel that this is enabling more human interactions with one another online, or is it actually taking away from that?
I think it's helpful. I get it. I mean, I think that when somebody says, I slipped on the ice today, broke my neck, broke my finger, spilled my groceries, you don't want to say like. So I think in that context, I'm glad that they have some changes, but I think overall, I think all of us are looking at our phones too darn much and cause a problem. But I do think it's helpful.
You mean like these people?
Exactly, those people.
Right.
Yes.
There are people like dinner, lunch, or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know that we needed it. I don't think anyone has anything that's holding them back from just replying, that sucks. I hate that. That's stupid. You're an idiot. I don't know. I don't think there's enough of a wall that people need to hide behind these types of avatar style responses. I think people have been pretty open, which is a good thing on Facebook. So I think they're nice to have, but I don't think it's,
What does it mean to your clients, your brands? I mean, are they using any of these, I'm sure the agencies are going to be looking at themselves and saying, oh my God, what can I use the heart button for? Can I use it for Valentine's Day, or can I use the angry button for every time customer experience goes downhill?
Yeah, they're not yet. That's just because for a lot of my corporate clients, because they are so big, they need 3 months to test it. They need to plan it into the content calendar. They know they're posting a cat picture in 2 weeks. Maybe then we can test out the kind of smiley face. So I think they're still kind of learning their way into it, and the brands much prefer to kind of be a bit voyeuristic when anything new comes out on social media. So I think they're observing right now, and they probably paid some of their agencies a lot of money to write a report on it and provide a couple POVs. So those are coming in now, and then I think they'll make a recommendation to their social media agencies on whether or not they can post one of these.
And I do think as this grows, I think brands are going to be a bit fearful. Imagine you're the brand and you post, Dunk in the Dark, which is old, but by Oreos or something, and you get 5 million angries or negative comments. That's where it's going to be a problem. And they'll probably pay Facebook $10 per click to remove each one or something like that.
My guess is Facebook is already, talking to Oreo to see how much money they can get out of them for an Oreo one of these.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that's on their roadmap. And some brands are probably trying to think, how can I get myself a donut? So I'm sure that's part of this plan, just like a lot of the emoji companies and Inmoji, and there's a lot of movement around that to get branded emojis. I've probably met with 6 or 7 startups that do specifically try to sell brands emojis.
Are you going to put this in your print edition of the magazine? And if so, what kind of reactions and how are you going to have your readers react to your content?
That's a great question. I have no clue. I mean, print is going to be a lot harder, of course.
I was say, do you have to go back in the era where you have to fill in things and circles and
probably
the radio buttons and whatnot?
I think this helps. I think it helps.
Interesting. So you do a lot of live video.
A lot.
Do you feel that the reactions may help you in terms of which way, how you'll be developing your content?
I think so. It's always good to have customer feedback. It's always good to have user feedback. I think it really depends on who's doing it and what it is. So a lot of video I do is the spur of the moment. Hey, I'm in a shower right now, and whatever it is, or or I'm going to get an airplane. So I think so. I think it's always good to have people, especially you all. I mean, those of us who are publishers, we rely on the feedback of our tribe. So I like it in that way. But I think my concern though is that, again, the public perception. Let's say I do something stupid, accidentally or not, and you get a ton of comments that are negative, it looks worse to have those yellow angry faces. So that's where I'd be a little cautious of.
So you're basically concerned about how to handle public opinion.
Correct. I'd rather have somebody privately tell me, Ramon, we didn't like this 10 times, and publicly, but that it is what it is. If you're big boys and big girls, you deal with it.
I feel like I want to give the angry face to Staples, because the reason why we don't have banners today is because Staples messed up on banners. And I called it. It took me 2 hours to get I think like a 10% discount on the banners themselves. But can you imagine Staples, and then you have another example is Best Buy, right? Barnes & Noble, customer experience going down the hill.
Well, it's also natural consumer behavior to express themselves when something goes wrong. We don't go tell brands, you did your job, good job. Like, we just don't. Unless it's Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless Zappos sends you a pizza because they got your shoes wrong, you're not going to write about it. So I do think brands are going to be very fearful because it's just more natural. You know, humans are more naturally inclined to respond about something they're unhappy with. And the quiet ones are just going to sit back who are happy, but they're not going to tell you that. So this is kind of opening the door to give those more active creators who are focused on the negative aspect of their experience with a brand, a channel to put that out to the world.
So what are some tactics that you use or have advised your clients to use in terms of being more human on social media? So you take a look at this article, it came out on Entrepreneur Magazine, and it says why being human on social media is the best strategy you want to be. So they talk about the likes of Zappos. They even talk about tactics in terms of anchoring businesses to their social strategies, so CSR and whatnot. Have you done it? Have your friends done it?
I mean, some things I would suggest, I think that as very small businesses, I think this is where we have a chance to leverage the power of social more.
Sure.
I think because we can, you know, if you're a small business owner, maybe you have 50 customers, 100 customers, so you can easily see them better. If you're a large business, it's harder. But either way, the principles I find, I'm a black guy, so you guys may not like me to say this, but I love segregation. Hold that a minute. I love when you segregate your...
Use the hashtag SMW.
Yeah.
SMW creative for any comments.
I love segregation in customers. And here's what I mean. I'm saying it tongue in cheek. What I mean by is that you have 1,000 customers. If you can segment, is really what I mean to say. If you can segment your customers and pay attention to those who are the higher use customers, I think that's where things get very interesting on social media. It's happened to me. I don't know who's happened to. I fly United Airlines quite a bit. United Airlines knows when I'm flying at times, and maybe they'll send me an extra perk, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So those of you, my encouragement is segment your customer base. Divide them, because all customers, in my opinion, are not the same. And those who are the loudest, who have the highest profile, who are most engaged in you, you can treat them special. For example, Staples should probably send Arjun a box of Sharpies and a kit, because he's an influencer. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by segmenting your customer. You're welcome, Arjun.
Yeah, I think the number one advice I give to a lot of my clients is I think social media needs to be in-house. It's that will rub some of the agencies the wrong way, but
It's farmed out too much.
Yeah, I think it's farmed out too much. I think it's too, your voice of your brand is something that belongs inside your organization.
But with an intern or someone more
That's a good
experienced?
question.
Not an intern,
Okay.
definitely someone with more
I've seen the best
experience.
stories.
I would say not an intern, but I would say, you know, if your consumer's young and you're speaking to a millennial consumer, it needs to be someone who is probably their peer, if you can. But also somebody who can understand the realistic boundaries that a brand has to deal with, because there are legal and you can't just ignore those things.
Sure.
But I do feel like there's a lot of companies who are hiring social media agencies or external, and they don't live the brand. They work on 5 other brands. They have hours that, you know, they work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. And if someone tweets something at 6:30 and they're out of the office having a beer, they're going to go do that. But if you're part of that company, if you're part of that team, you're going to respond every 24 hours. And I just think it says something about your brand to be really in-house. And I couldn't agree more with the segmentation. We work with companies like Crowdly, is an awesome startup that will help you kind of score and create almost an internal clout for your community members and help you kind of ping you, send you a text on your phone. This individual just wrote something on the wall. You want to respond to them in 24 hours and help you do that. So there are some affordable, awesome tools out there that will help with that segmentation.
I want to shout out to T-Mobile, who's my provider. I love John Ledger. He's like,
Yeah.
after Richard Branson, he's
Yeah.
like the go-getter. And anytime they have a network issue or whatnot, I have no issues with the network, like personally, because I know John is behind it, and he is absolutely on social media, and he's
Yeah.
tweeting at everyone, he's saying, we apologize, we'll give you discounts and whatnot.
Yeah.
So kudos to
Yeah.
And I just
I
want
love
to add
that.
to the point about when you're hiring out. I think that hiring out, yes, we hire too much. But an example we do at Smart Hustle. So Stephanie Boone manages a lot of the social at Smart Hustle magazine.
Yeah.
She's the one who texted me or emailed me when Damon John retweeted us. So I think it may not work if you're just sending it out, you know, willy-nilly. But I think if you have someone that has a mind sync with you,
Yeah.
they're involved, it means they get your DNA. Then I think it can work. But somebody who doesn't care, it's pointless.
All right, so we talked about finding someone in-house. How do you find that person in-house to be human and not be like these people up here who are, I guess you can call them social media gurus and whatnot, but they don't know what it means to be human and human interaction. How do you find that kind of person and hire them?
I think that I would say that when somebody comes into your office, you should put trash on the floor,
Okay,
have the hires come in.
right.
Those who pass by the trash on the floor, you should not hire it. Those who stop by to pick it up, that you know is when you're the step away, a step closer to hiring someone who cares about what you're doing. And I think that's where it starts. Because you can even, social media is a technicality function. That's a transaction. Anybody can tweet, but not anybody gets the voice, gets the DNA of what you're trying to do. Arjun's different than me. Gina's different than I am. We're all different. So we need people who can complement and think like us, but at the end of the day, you want empathetic people. What's that?
People who ignore real life
Exactly.
will not fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do doggy parks.
Do you? Okay,
I
that'll
see
work.
how they interact with dogs and animals and people.
Oh, I like that.
So you would never hire me? Because I don't. You're gonna throw me out?
No!
I would encourage brands to let whoever their community manager or the voice of the brand on social use their real name and be themselves. And I think that it will immediately start to help them be a human because they're themselves. Too many brands, they don't say, "Hey, I'm Gina with Evolution."
Right.
It's "Hi, I'm Staples. Staples is
Or
here to help
Revolution
you."
425.
Yeah, this is Delta Assist. Like, I kind of want to know, this is Stephanie from Delta Assist. I think just starting with your name is so powerful, and those people feel like they know you. And I think if you let them share a little bit about who they are, I've been with the company a month. I've been with the company 10 years. I mean, ideally it's someone who has been with the company for a while, but just sharing what their role is, how long they've been with the company. I'm a mom too, I get it. Letting them slip little things that are personal about them in and just making sure they're a human and not a brand, it was the first start.
But what are some of the issues you're running into with millennials in terms of mentality, in terms of the issues that are relevant to them? Do you feel like brands are relevant to them? I mean, they obviously love to bash brands, but when they're on the other side managing a brand, do you feel like they get it? Or are they always like this in terms of not being out? How do you teach them? Do you mentor them? Do you teach them a training program?
I think it depends on who it is. I think that we're all different, and I think millennials, even I think the word we throw around quite a bit, but I think millennials, you have 2 or 3 different kinds. You have those who are conscientious, those who are empathetic, those who do get it, and you have those maybe who think they're entitled, think the world owes them. Those need to be trained. So when I leave, please don't like slip my tires or something, you never like what I'm saying. But I think there's 2 kinds, and I think that's where you have to find out. Some might need a bit more training than others, but I think if you have a good crew, because millennials are important, meaning they're the ones who are using technology, the advancing, teaching you about all these tools that are happening out. So I think you need them, but you do want the ones that are being trained properly or who are willing to learn.
Yeah.
So Gina, you've been off Facebook for a couple weeks now.
Yep.
And that's the reason why I couldn't tag you on anything. Why are you off Facebook and not Twitter?
Okay, so it's a little social experiment I wanted to do with myself. I felt like I wasn't getting as much as I was getting out what I was putting in, spending a lot of time on Facebook, and I felt I was very shallow and not going deep enough into what I wanted to go deep enough into. My productivity was suffering. I didn't know why I was going to Facebook, so I left right after the New Year, so it's been about 8 weeks. And it's going well. I feel okay. I still have to, there's things for my clients that I need to go on and check, but for the most part, I've been completely off. I'm enjoying it, and I think Twitter. So the reason I didn't get off Twitter is because my friends, the people I follow on Twitter are famous. Like, they're interesting.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they're actors and they're writers and they're.
So you feel Facebook is complicated?
Yeah, Facebook. It's my actual network. It's people I know or actually knew, years ago, and now, I'm in my early 30s and they're all having babies. So my whole Facebook wall is just babies, and the politics I can't deal with. And so, but on Twitter, I found that it's a very different group of people, and I also feel like the length, it's nicer. I don't get lost as much in kind of reading all these like long replies and these diatribes, and also because and I think this also speaks to how brands need to think about communicating with people my age, kind of that later end of the millennials. I'm 34, and I think I grew up, and anyone around my age, we grew up in a very interesting time. I'm happy for this, but I straddle that point in time where my closest friends, my network, whether friends, lovers, etc., I met in person. I did not, my oldest friends, there was no Facebook or any social media, so I built my network without social media, and yet I'm extremely proficient in it. I would consider myself a digital native. I'm adept. I'm on all the platforms. I'm a tech junkie. So we kind of straddled this world. We know what it was like without it. Our closest friends and family members and significant others, we probably maybe met off it. And we kind of miss that, but at the same time, we love what it's done for us. So I'm trying to also understand kind of my balance of when do I want to take things offline? And I think brands need to think about it the same way. There's a time when you really need to get off social media and call someone and ask, hey, what's your phone number? Let me give you a call. This will be way faster. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think they need to get on the phone, or they need to say, come into a store, we've got something waiting for you, or mail you, I think, the package idea,
absolutely.
and just get offline. So I'm trying to just kind of test that for my personal self right now and see how that, makes me
And can I comment to this point about phone calls? I would encourage everyone, so many times we think we're friends with people because we're tweeting them, or on Facebook, or Instagram, or Periscope. That's not friendship. That's lying to yourself. What I've started to do in the past 6 months to 8 months is have a phone call twice a year with people who are a little more distant. I don't know if you understand me, but it's changed my life. And I have a list of about 100 people that I have scheduled throughout the year to just say, hey, I just called No Agenda to say what's up. It has transformed. One lady wanted a new client. I introduced her, sorry, Arjun, to AT&T. I mean, so my point is that when you talk to someone, when you have a phone call, it changes things. And I would just encourage you, me and Arjun have done that. I've come by his place and just said hello. So,
Yeah, I think I read somewhere a great quote that social media is connection without commitment.
Yes.
And I think anything that's
Social media is
connection without commitment. And I think anything that is, delivers an instant gratification without the commitment, like a diet pill, there's always a give and take. So what are you losing when you get that instant gratification for that connection?
If you're on Twitter, I think you should be tweeting this.
Absolutely. But everyone doesn't want to be on Twitter because they don't want you to say that you're not being human. So.
Yeah.
All right, that's good to see you. By the way, if you guys want to jump in at any point, feel free to jump in, ask questions, and comment on any of what they're saying. Also, the Wi-Fi information is right here, and also behind you. So next question is, let's take a look. It's like a game show.
And I love how you're using Workbench. This is such a freaking
really
amazing
cool.
application.
Well, so the whole idea behind Stories at Workbench is to not say, hey guys, download Workbench because we're the new cool app, which we are, by the way. But the idea is to have a conversation, a literal conversation, a creative conversation around the community of creatives and individual people.
Nice.
And so we did one last month actually around entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs and startup founders with Jason Salzman. And the next month is with the Metropolitan Museum on how history repeats itself and what that means for creatives and startup founders. So thank you. Ramon, you started Print Magazine in 2015. Is that your way of being more human online while being traditional in person? Explain to me the benefits of starting Print Magazine versus a digital magazine and how you're leveraging that benefit to your brand.
Sure. I think that so many people have said that print is going away. When I've told people I've created a print magazine, I say, oh, so my name is Ramon, editor of Smart Hustle Magazine, comes out in print 4 times a year. And I have to slap them and think, what, print? So yes, I think the reason is 2 or 3-fold. One is that even because print is not sexy today, when I have a print magazine, it becomes sexy. It becomes something like, wow, people stop looking at me, I give them the magazine, they do it. Point 2, I think the print magazine for me is like a big calling card. So for what I do, having large brands advertise and be a part of it, when I go into a large brand and say, hey, my name is Ramon with Ramon Ray Smart Hustle Magazine, if I'm saying an app, okay, that's cool. Okay, goodbye. Check out my website, that's cool, goodbye. But when I hand the magazine,
they love it.
Every single time, they stop looking at me flipping.
Yeah.
They're drooling. Yes,
Is
exactly.
the smell you get from flipping
That's it,
pages?
exactly. And I spray a little smell from the magazine in there, and it hits them. So the point is, that's why I did it. And I think print, it brings us back. And really, the print is not for everyone. Most of people are signing up and are not asking for the print.
Right.
But those who are, hey Ramon, you get the selfie, you get the picture. I get your magazine. So that's why. I think it brings back that human connectivity.
What demographics are you really going after right now? Is it the millennial generation? Is it older people? Or is it, have you been surprised?
Sure, there's 2 people. One are very old people, like 90 and above, preferably. No, joking. So 2 demographics.
You mean the 90s?
Yeah, 90s, yes.
Okay.
Those who are just starting your business, and you really don't know exactly what you want to do, but you're just starting to need help. That's the first target demographic.
Sure.
The second are those in the hustle. So we're not looking for those who want to be the next Facebook, not necessarily, but those who are in the hustle, in the grind. 300,000 in revenue, 3 million in revenue, give or take like that. Those are 2. Yeah, founders, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Tell me about, you want to talk a little bit about Gary Vaynerchuk and how that partnership or collaboration, what that was,
Sure.
how that hustle led to that.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess I will, because you asked. So I've been trying to get Gary Vaynerchuk to work with me for many, many years, a long time. And he's like a virtual mentor of mine. We're not buds, like, golfing buddies, but virtual mentor of mine. And bottom line is, I was talking to him recently, and he said something to me, and I'll leave it at that, but he said, Ramon, you've been jabbing. If you read his book, he said this is a right hook. And the bottom line is, he said, do some work with me. So that I was just gratified, because for some of you like pop stars, for me it's like, Gary Vaynerchuk, oh my God. And so that's how it is to work with him. So it happened though, because yes, you have to give. And sometimes that giving happens in person.
So is that jab, right hook, is that being more human?
That being more human, correct. That means giving, doing something, being at events. That's, going back to human, in a real example, I've targeted Gary. I'm very good at targeting
Not on
people.
Facebook.
No, in person. So
in person advertising.
yes, so he had an event once. Maybe you guys heard some of the advertisements. It was Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin, and Dave Ramsey, all three of them together. Tickets were like, what, $5 million? Something insane like that. Actually, it was $800 to $1,000. I had a debate on Facebook, should I buy that ticket? I did buy it. Some of you may have been part of the conversation, because for me it's a lot of money, a ticket. But I bought it, and guess what? From the stage, yo, that's my boy Ramon Ray! Just that was a connection. You follow what I mean?
Right.
So I believe firmly in person. That in person, and again, we're online socially. I follow his team, he follows me. But it's just nothing beats when you're trying to get somebody's attention in person.
Do you agree with that, print and being a little bit old school it tends to be more?
And you can disagree too.
And the reason I say is because I'm very old school. I feel like I'm 24. I feel like a 50-year-old mentally. And the reason is because I love giving hugs, writing thank you notes, and just being more human.
Yeah.
Do you agree with companies like Ramon that being human means to be print, being a little bit old school, but keeping the modern era in mind at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's about your personal brand, and I think it's a choice about the vision of your company and your personal brand. And if you want to be a personal brand that has something physical and tangible, you should go for it. I think from a media perspective, my previous life as a media planner and buyer, I would say it's dead if you're trying to reach people and tell them to buy a product by reading an ad in a magazine. Yeah, I wouldn't invest a cent in any magazine for a reach, for a media perspective. But do I buy Dwell? Do I subscribe to some certain zines? Absolutely. I think they're tangibles. I would also say from just a merchandising perspective, and for all the startups in the room, physical case studies, those little booklets that you print out go so far in corporates. I mean, to hand a Nestle brand manager, an Anheuser-Busch, just a little book of what you did, or the print magazine, they love it. It circulates, it sits on their office. That email is gone in 10 minutes when they get 100 other emails. So I think it's very powerful as a merchandising tool. And I think if it's part of your brand voice, it's amazing.
So why do we have to be more social and customer-oriented in person than just online? And examples of companies that have done and get this or don't get this. Like we mentioned before, Best Buy, totally, completely awful experience in terms of customer experience. Staples being an example, Barnes & Noble being an example. I'm not surprised that the whole book industry is going downhill, while Amazon is coming up, and they're opening physical bookstores. Where is that human interaction going in that? If you can talk to me about that.
Sure. So I think for brands who want to go offline or be more human, I definitely think there's lots of brands who do it well. I think the first thing is you want your employees to live and breathe your culture. So obviously Zappos does an amazing job of this. Boingo does an amazing job of this. My co-founder was in an airport lounge, happened to meet someone from Boingo who was getting on a flight, and he just takes like 50 flights a day testing Boingos. And he was just kind of, they got to know each other in the airport lounge. My co-founder has, 30,000 Twitter followers. He's an author. His name is Joseph Jaffe. He looked, he didn't mention this while they were just getting to know each other as two guys in the lounge. But this guy from Boingo went on, looked up who Joseph was after he got his card. He ended up setting our small business a ton of free Boingo passes, some Boingo merchandise. Really smart. And I think it's this training, right? So like when you go interview at Zappos, at the end of this interview process, they offer to pay you to not take the job if you don't want to. So they say, if you really don't like it here, if you don't think this is the fit for you, we'll compensate you for all the time we just wasted of yours. Here's $1,000. You don't need to take the job. But if you do, we want you here. And so that from the very beginning is kind of building this culture. They say they definitely have a culture of better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. So everybody has kind of an expense account, and they're like, do what you need to do to make the customer happy, and then if we did something a little crazy, we'll yell at you after the fact. So how do you start to build this culture among your employees that whenever they're out in the world in person, they're living and breathing and representing your brand and offering customer service because it's what they want to do, not because what they have to do.
I think UPS does a good job of that.
Yeah.
UPS and Starbucks, I mean, and other courier companies like that. And I think, again, these are large companies, but I think as small businesses, we can learn from them. So I think it's interesting, it's maybe a bit dated, but how UPS is now emailing you, this has been around relatively recently, and saying, your package is coming.
Yeah.
Would you like to hold it or not? That kind of thing is pretty transformative, because in the past, you have to get the little yellow sticky note on your door. Now that doesn't have to happen. Take a look at Starbucks app where you can order it as you're coming along, but you're still getting the physical cup of coffee. Now, you may have heard the news. Soon, Starbucks is not going to be selling coffee. It's going to be virtual coffee. Just joking. But the point is, it's that, yes, exactly. But the point being is that these are ways that we small businesses can be in an app world, can be in a social world. As you said, Gina, this is where the world's going. Let's not kid ourselves, but nothing beats, look at Arjun's shirt, workbench. This is, so my point is these physical things are still important. I think we forget that and we lose it sometimes.
I mean, we could have done it virtually.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
You don't get the fireplace. Guys, there's a fireplace here, and when we do fireside chats, every fireside chat will have this.
I also think a lot of corporates need to recognize and do an analysis on their own business if they fall into that 80-20 rule, and a lot of them do, which is 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. And so how much, if you look at what you're spending, where's your marketing budget going? Chances are more than 80% of your marketing budget is actually going to acquire new customers who don't represent the bulk of your business. And my co-founder wrote a book on this called Flip the Funnel, and he says, retention is the new acquisition. You really need to focus on that, flip the funnel. Take the 80% that you're spending against strangers who you don't even know and you're just trying to acquire them. And what if you spent more of that against the 20% who's actually driving the 80% of your revenue? What could you do for them? And they are your advocates. They're gonna drive your new consumers. So I think that's key.
So you talk about Joseph being an example, your co-founder, but what about the people who are not considered influencers? They're just the normal Joe going into a store and they don't get a great experience and then walk out with a bad experience. But they might not talk about it. They might talk about it a year later or a few weeks later. How do you reach those people?
Well, I kind of agree with him. They are not all created equally. So you only have so much time. You only have so many resources. You can't make everybody happy. So someone like that, the best thing I would probably do is try to activate the crowd. So can you get your community responding on your behalf? Do you have enough loyalists and customers who will help that person? So I don't have to actually spend any money or resources or time trying to help you. It's not really going to say anything, but you're just going to leave kind of disgruntled. I don't really care as a brand. You're an influencer, but most people aren't, and it's just not worth my time. But if I've got a good community, I've got a forum with FAQs, and I'm activating my customers to speak on my behalf, then I've got Blue Shirt Nation. I know those are employees, but if you kind of bring it down to a lower level, then I think it takes the onus and the resources off the brand, but I probably as a brand wouldn't care about you.
And I would say also, Arjun, I would say ask for the feedback. Not only ask for the praise, but make it obvious. Did we screw up? Click here. Because if you can capture the people who are pissed off and angry before they go to Twitter, before they go to Facebook, before they go to LinkedIn, before they do a live stream. Hi, my name is Becky. I just went to Workbench. Arjun didn't give me a hug. Before they do that,
That's very well.
then you can, I think you're doing it. The second thing I want to say is just to encourage everybody is that there's a company, either Postable, P-O-S-T-A-B-L-E. Postable has the thank you cards, that you can send, type them and send them. Or just buy your own thank you cards or whatever. I would encourage all of us to do that more. I don't send enough thank you cards, but I do handwrite and send thank you cards or use Postable. Last thing I'll say, for those of you who are more tech oriented, it's not so scalable, it costs some money, but put a little physical product together depending on where you're at in your company. People who sign up and spend money, send everybody something. That makes sense what I'm saying. Or give them a chance. You don't know what it's like to get home after you signed up for an app, or you did some engagement online, and 3 days later you have a little blue box that says thank you. That's like one of those, you feel warm and you just want to cry.
So I had to go through my next question.
Okay.
How do small business owners, and we're talking maybe the juice bar, coffee bar, or even startups, tech companies or big companies, what are some tactics, tools that you use personally, like Postable would be an example, or Gina as well, in order to get ahead of the competition? Sure. Or being a human, purely human on social media.
Yeah, sure. A few things that you can do, and a few things that I do, and I'll mix them all together. I think one, those of you who have staff, or who have offices, or have buildings, let your staff genuinely be nice people. I'm sure you've run into people who are first class, 100% absolute morons, haven't you? And that doesn't take any technology, no API calls. It just takes being, hi, I'm Ramon, how are you? Thank you for coming. I experienced that here at Workbench. You have a great team here who greeted us as we came in the door. That's one. I think you're welcome. I think point two.
Very proud of my team.
I think point two is just generally be easy to work with. That's one thing a lot of my customers say to me, Ramon. So I'll be open here. One of my customers is PayPal. They asked me, Ramon, do you need first class travel to go to Atlanta? Now I live in New Jersey. Maybe I'm a moron, but I said no. Why do I take first class travel to go 90 minutes or however long it takes? I don't need that. So I think that's point two. And I think point three is that, again, it goes back to looking for opportunities to help people. And I think that's a third thing. When I do a lot of events, 500-person events, I tell my staff, my team, listen, people are coming to the door. Are we ready? We're looking to serve, not just do registration, but you see a lady there carrying her bag up there, or a guy, help them out. So those are three things I would say.
Besides helping the old lady cross the road.
Besides
help her cross the conference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got it.
And greeting.
Greeting, yes.
I think making yourself available. So I do get coffee with anybody. I listened to an amazing Tim Ferriss podcast the other day with some philosopher and entrepreneur, and he said, say yes to everything. He said the whole beginning of my career was I was building my business. I said yes to everything. As soon as I hit some success and the business kind of started taking off, then I stopped and I said no to everything because I needed to focus. But as I started getting, when I was getting started, I said yes to everything. So I say yes to everything. And amongst our team, and especially our leadership, myself and my co-founder, we make ourselves available. And my whole team will use I don't know which system we use now, we've tried like 3 or 4, but the calendar where you can go on and just book time with us, we want to do that. And so we'll make ourselves available usually within 2 weeks, minimum.
And Gina, available inside, you mean, I get everybody inside, but outside of anybody here, you'll have coffee with?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I like anybody.
Can I challenge it?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, may I?
How do you manage
Can I challenge them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so my challenge is going to be is that it's his event, so I get permission. So my point is that I guess I've been doing it, maybe I'm wrong. I get a number of people saying, Ramon, can we meet up? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I've started saying no, but let's talk on the phone for 5 minutes. Just curious, and because I was doing the coffee meetings, but I realized I'd go there only to find out, hi, you need life insurance. So that was why I started to say, let me have a phone call first, if it's blind. But I'm curious, do you have any threshold or literally any?
I mean, no, I'll pretty much go to coffee with anybody.
Okay.
But I've been pretty lucky. I haven't gotten any like traveling insurance salesmen yet. But I think if that happened to me more, I probably would do a good screen. So I definitely do like a screen because one, it might not be me they want to talk to. They actually might want to talk to someone that works for me. But if it is me, then I just say yes. And yeah, I'm exhausted. I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah, absolutely.
After the first call, I do decaf after that.
But we also did things like we use social media. So we used to do a hangout every single Tuesday morning.
Oh, that's not actually
Yeah. So we just stopped like 2 months ago, mostly because the connectivity was just awful on the hangout. So we're actually looking at like High Five or what other systems can we use. It was just really bad quality.
By May or so, you'd be able to drag in video.
So we'd like to bring it back. We just, even though like a ton of people didn't show up, and some days nobody showed up and we just talked to each other. But it was just nice, it was the water cooler, to have that standing Google Hangout. We put it out on our social media, it was on our website, it said, if you want to talk to Evolution Team, we're going to be talking about what we think is cool, and we're going to be doing it every Tuesday. There's another agency called like Honey and Fly, or it's got some cool name like that, I can't remember right now. But they do like 2 days a week at noon. They go through all of the kind of memes and hot things on social right now, everything that's about to take off viral. You have to kind of they'll let you in, you've got to like schedule it, but anyone can come and sit at this agency, and they have this huge table, and they have this big screen, and they have people up there who are curating, and they're flipping through. No, they're here. It's like Honey and something. I'll send it out. And they do it, and they flip through, and they talk about why it's important and what brands might find it interesting, and do we think it's going to really take off, or do we think it'll simmer down? And I think doing standing meetings, reoccurring session, open door policy, sign up for NewCo, things like that, make yourself available, say yes to coffees, has worked really well for us.
Okay, so I'm just writing a note here. Before I send this board out to everyone,
As Gina for Honey.
Yeah.
I will ask.
Yes, it's very cool. I went to one of the sessions.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So Michael Steer actually was going to be here today, but he's not here. But he basically talked about the H2H, which is human to human, B2B, customer to customer, whatever you want to call it. but he mentioned about Amazon. What is Amazon getting right from your perspective? That now the Prime subscription is out of this world, customer experience is out of this world, but they're actually building real life bookstores. They're going up against Barnes & Noble, and they killed Barnes & Noble over the course of the last 15 years. Why are they getting it right?
Yeah, I don't know if the bookstores will work. I think it's a very capital intense operation.
Right.
Putting that aside, I think that what they're getting right is, I'm getting Chinese food, chicken wings, pork fried rice. I call or chat with Amazon support. My movie's not downloading. Boom! It starts downloading. Or, we're sorry, here's all 75 cents of your money back with no questions asked. My wife, I ordered her 9 pair of shoes. Why? Because I knew she would not like 8 of them. I did it through Amazon. So I think that's the kind of thing they're doing right. They're just butt-kicking in customer service, where you can order things without thinking. Without thinking.
Do you think they learned that from Zappos? I don't exactly know when they
I think they had a problem before, I think.
They introduced Prime, but Zappos seems to be having a very influential role in the
Could
startup
be.
community.
But they've been doing, I think, in fairness, I think, a little before Zappos. I think it was a good combination, but I think Bezos or whoever's, running their stuff, I think they did a good dialogue. And they have to. I mean, think of that Jet. Nobody talks about them anymore. Walmart, great company, but these big brands are trying to be Amazon, but it's just through inventory, customer service, through the tools they have, it's an ecosystem.
Yeah, I haven't done enough reading about it, but my initial guess would be that they're not doing this to make money and off those stores. And if you ask, some of the
neither is their space program.
yeah, exactly. And if you ask I heard someone at Apple once say, it was when a lot of the like some of the new iPod ads were coming out. And they said, what's your favorite ad? What's the best ad you've ever done for your brand? And they said our store. So it's, we're not looking to make all our money off those stores, and where we put half of them, we're not making money off that store in Grand Central. I mean, come on, I don't care how many iPads you sell.
It's the tourists that come and go, Apple logo.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they'll probably make it more about a customer experience and an ad, and maybe a way to get to know the face behind Amazon. I mean, from being in the industry, all you hear is how horrible it is to work there. And it's just the worst place to work, and people are miserable, and they're like, so I know that they probably do want to start to change that reputation, and maybe getting some of that face-to-face interaction in retail environments will help them.
I'm going to open for a Q&A in a few minutes, so definitely have questions. What does it mean, so in the next 2 years, 1 year, 5 years, where are you going personally with your individual companies in terms of being more personable, personally being more personable as a brand? And how are you going to do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing I'm doing specifically, I've asked Tim to coordinate something where people who are wanting to be in touch with Ramon can do that live. So that's the one thing I'm trying to do. I'm probably doing it way too much, but I have a number of people, Ramon, can I call you? I'm not a consultant. I talk on stage and I leave, as you know. I don't stay there. Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm trying to find a way, how can I serve my audience? Right. And so that's one thing I'm really trying to do the next few months. I have a couple companies and this, that, and the other, but I want to be able to help people. So that's one thing I'm trying to do, see if I can do it.
Yeah. For us, for our clients, we've actually made a decision to take less clients with bigger deals. That's something that can be advised against, especially if you're looking for scale. So smaller licensing, subscription, reoccurring revenue, lots of customers paying a small amount, especially if you're...
Like David John meets Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for us...
Power of Broke versus the money with Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah. Exactly. So we struggled with that a lot, but when we see where our core value comes from, we believe it's from our strategic connections that we make between the use cases of technologies that entrepreneurs build and the business challenges that we understand corporates have. And a lot of that's brain power, and it is consultative and it's strategic. So we've actually made a decision that it's very easy to say yes to the one-offs and the small projects because it's cash, and I'm running a business and I want that cash. But for the longer term vision, it makes more sense for us to say no to the smaller things and just get the bigger clients at kind of more retainer-based scopes, and then be able to focus more resources against those clients and dedicate more of our time to them and go above and beyond. And hopefully that will build the recurring revenue by delivering exceptional, flawless service for them.
So less is more. For both
Yeah.
Quality matters.
Yeah.
Very much.
That's one of the reasons why I joined the clubs in New York, was because I was going to 4 meetups a week, skipping classes. By the way, I recommend skipping classes all the time for the students in the room. And we were just meeting everyone and anyone in the community. community, but I really wanted to be quality people, influential people like yourself.
Wow.
And then I joined the Ivy Club, Magnesis, Ani, Ad Club, One Club, ANC. Like, these were really good community-driven organizations where you could meet the 1% of 1%. So I recommend joining these organizations and getting to know them, especially if you want to get ahead within your industry. So books and other recommendations in terms of material for learning. What are some of your favorite sources of inspiration to be working on social media?
Okay, to sort of self-promotion, but not really.
Sure.
My co-founder's book, Flip the Funnel. It's actually not his newest book. It's his third book called Flip the Funnel, all about customer retention as the new acquisition. Lots of case studies, really interesting stories. And he also does the math, so he makes the business case. It's not just fluffy, be nice to your customers, love everyone. It'll actually drive more revenue. So I think that's important. Sorry.
2 F's and 2 E's?
Yep, that's it. And then the second one would be, there was a Fresh Air episode with Aziz Ansari about 3 months ago, where he talks about being human on social media, and he talks about, and that was also, I think, it resonated so strongly with me about the shallow nature of a lot of what's happening on Facebook. And he says, someone said to you in the morning, I was waking up and I was getting on my phone and I was scrolling, and someone said, if I printed out your newsfeed every morning and I handed it to you and I said, good morning, do you want to read everything that you're about to scroll through? Like, I wouldn't even get past the first page, a bunch of stupid, boring baby shit. So he said, so why do I get sucked into it? And he's got a lot of really funny, poignant observations, and he worked with a research fellow at NYU to kind of develop this thesis around dating and life, and I just think it's great. I think,
That's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that interview with him on Fresh Air is fantastic. So a little business and more a little culture and fun.
For me, I think Dave Kirpin of Likeable Local. Dave Kirpin, he has a great book coming out about something. But Dave Kirpin, Likeable Local, I think it's about liking people, where he talks about the aspect of human interaction and a little bit of social. And Gary Vaynerchuk's book is coming out, Ask Gary V. It's going to be a little bit of mix of tech, a little bit of self-awareness, definitely a lot about social. So I think Ask Gary V, I checked that out coming out, and then Dave Kirpin's book is what I'd say.
And also I would say Bon and Bao. He's one of my clients. He also has a book coming out. No, he's great. He speaks a lot. Follow him on Twitter. His book's coming out, but he definitely.
What's the name?
Bonin, B-O-N-I-N, Bao, B-O-U-G-H.
B-O-N?
Yep.
Okay.
B-O-U-G-H. B-O-U-G-H. U-G-H. Had a U in there. Yep.
Oh wait, I'm actually meeting him in Austin.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, tell
That's
him.
an introduction.
Fantastic.
Well,
Yeah, he talks a lot about how he built his own personal brand using social on a parallel path with building his company's brand. So he did a really good job. He was at Pepsi, now he's at Mondelez International. And while he helped to drive business for the brand, he at the same time got himself a fantastic reputation and big career.
All right, before we get into Q&A, Jackie, do you want to, there's a guitar right here. Do you want to see if it's tuned or not?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so Jackie will be performing in about a couple of minutes, but after the Q&A, does anyone have any questions?
And before the question, may I just say, Arjun, I just want to say, Arjun, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Workbench is great, and a big shout out to the team who's here. Stephanie Bohm was there, social media queen, Tim Ray, Jesse, and my daughter Charity. Thank you all for being here as well. The best people in the world.
And I also definitely want to thank Jerry, who is CEO of Building Links here, which is our space, the space we're using today. Definitely check out buildinglinks.com. It's one of the best startups in New York, and definitely want to shout out to Jerry, who's not here unfortunately, but he was very generous to let us use the space. Questions? Any questions? To be human in person. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
I just wanted to know, how did you guys get into the segments that you're all working on now? Because you seem to be very passionate and really know everything you're talking about. So what got you into this position?
So for me, I always wanted to do Madison Avenue, big agencies. I studied advertising in college, got to Madison Avenue, did an internship at BBDO on the creative side, was like, I made it, and then it was the worst internship ever. I hated it. I was bored out of my mind. It was the worst. And so I left like, oh my God, what did I just waste all my time on? But I knew I obviously had the skill set for advertising, fell into digital media, which was just starting to kind of really bubble up in New York in 2005. So spent 8 years in digital media and digital advertising, and just started to see that as kind of attention spans were dwindling and money was being wasted in advertising, there had to be a better way. So very serendipitously, I was exploring the tech scene. I wanted to create an umbrella share company. I reinvented a chicken wing dipping bowl. So I had some really bad ideas. You know, you can't get that chicken wing like in there. So I kind of redesigned
You have to bite it
one.
first and put it into a
Yeah, so I have a redesigned one.
Okay, good.
So anyway, and while I was exploring the tech community, I kind of saw this missed opportunity. Why are brands wasting all this money to rent space and buy attention when they could underwrite utilities and services and products that actually communicate and add value to their consumers? So I really saw a missed opportunity in an industry I was already in.
And for me, it was all accidental. I worked at the United Nations for many years until I wasn't. While I was at the United Nations, I had an IT and technology consulting company. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning, go to clients at 4 in the morning, was at the UN at 8:58. And then I discovered the internet, Mosaic and Netscape and the browser and all that stuff. And the rest is history. And my first speaking gig was by Inc. magazine. Mr. Ray, that was a clue. Can you come and speak at our event? What's your rate? My rate? You pay people to speak? I'm like, whoa! And then Black Enterprise called. Can you write for us? We accept $1 per word, $1 per word. Okay, probably 10 words. Can you write 3,000 words? Whoa! 3,000 words? And so I didn't know this world existed. And that's really how it started. Just 15, 20 years ago, just people saw value. Microsoft front page, anybody? Saving it, FTPing it up 3 times a day. That was my first blog before there was Blogger, before there was WordPress. So that's how I started. And now I'm having fun.
Cool. Does anyone else have questions? Put them in the back. Anyone?
There's one right here.
Okay.
I have a
Go for it.
Do you still see a future for small, unique print magazines who, of course, they'll still have to be online, but they still can serve like a niche
Absolutely.
community?
It's going to be tough, but absolutely.
Okay.
Especially the big, bold, and glossy. Absolutely.
I think niche is the key.
Yes.
I think you said it, like the whole world is fragmented, and so in a good way. So I think as long as you zero in on that niche audience, you can own it. Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions? Cool. Well, Jackie, can we introduce Jackie to us up here, please? Thank you so much.
Thank
Gina.
you.
Thank you, Arjun.
Thank you. Please. All right. Where is
Jackie going to come here, or she's
she's doing what's seat.
Okay. The floor is yours, Jackie.
Thanks guys so much for sticking around. My name's Jackie Palladino. I'm going to just do a couple songs. I'm a singer-songwriter and actually a social media strategist during the day. So this conversation has been very helpful for my day job. And I guess how I would tie it all in is that art for me, creativity for me, is probably the deepest connection with our humanness. And if going about our businesses, we can kind of think about, or at least personally, I'm sure people have creative hobbies of that sort. You can think about what really touches you and what really brings you joy.
Besides touchscreens.
Exactly.
iPad.
Then I feel like if you bring that to your business, it'll be very difficult to fail. So I'm gonna perform a couple of my older stuff here that actually, when I first got into songwriting, I had the pleasure of working with Kevin Hayden, who was my professor at NYU at the time, and he's the first person who introduced me to songwriting and helped me compose 1 or 2 of these songs. So this first one's going to be called Old Fisherman, and it was inspired by a young love and old soul. Like art. Old fisherman with your boat in the mud, mask the past, or you're just dripping blood. Heard you found in my mind, out in the met out there with you on mine. Just waited a while for the day that you'll find her. Oh, you should know. Please, won't you take my hand? I swear I'll understand you, darling, you old fisherman, darling, you old fisherman, darling, you old fisherman.
Hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you so much for watching our fireside chat with an actual fireplace. To download the workbench board we created live during the chat, head over to our Facebook page or Flickr channel. Looking forward to seeing you in person at our next event. In the meantime, if you'd like to visualize your own events, as we did here on the large screen, go ahead and download the Workbench app in the Apple App Store. Make visual conversations with your creative ideas and start collaborating today.